So again, welcome everybody. I'm Luann Fortune, and I am the interim department chair for the Department of Mind-Body Medicine at Saybrook University, and I'm joined today by some of my colleagues. April Andrews is a doctoral student in mind-body medicine, and she's monitoring the chat box and also checking on the Zoom controls. And April is also here, more importantly, to offer the student perspective on any questions that come up. So thank you for being with us today, April. I'm also joined by my colleague, Dr. Valerie Worthington, who is the Associate Chair of the department. And I'll talk a little bit about how we have structured, but I think you're all here because you want to hear about our program. Before we get started, though, I'd invite you to do something that we do as we start every session, in particular for online or synchronous experiences, which is to presence yourself, or to get yourself settled or grounded or whatever your language might be around that. You're all here because you have some interest in mind-body medicine practices and perhaps science. Take a moment to get yourself settled. Maybe you want to shrug your shoulders. Maybe you want to stretch out. Maybe just take a look around you. And then you probably want to take a breath in. And sometimes we even let our eyes go closed for a minute to take 2 or 3 breath cycles in to focus on our breathing. Because one of the things that we've learned is that you breathe in the present moment. So while you're breathing, you can set aside all the places you've come from and the ones you're going to go to next. And allow yourself to focus on being here together with us. When you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes and we'll get started. So the purpose here is to give you an introduction to the college and our department and our mind-body medicine degree program. I want to talk a little bit about our course format, and folks always ask about career pathways. So what do our graduates end up doing? And we'll finish up with a word about the calendar and also the application process. We will have dedicated time at the end for questions, but if you have any questions in the meantime, please put them in the chat box. And if you'd really like to shout them out loud, let us know, and we'll pause the recording so that you don't have to go on record for this, and we can take your questions right there at the time. So I'm going to get moving right in. I'm starting my 15th year at Saybrook. I started almost at the very beginning of our program, and in the time that we started out our department with Saybrook, which is over 50 years old and well established as a graduate institute, we have grown our programs so that currently we have master's and PhD programs, over 600 students in 3 academic departments across the entire College of Integrative Medicine and Health Sciences. And we have partnerships with applied psychophysiology, sports performance psychology, humanistic psychology, integrative functional nutrition, and our curriculum all touches on those. We have an integrative curriculum. So in our own words about what is integrative healthcare, it is using different possibilities to combine around a center focus. And our center focus is for our students' personal and professional applications. We are a scholarly program. We look heavily at the mind-body science and current research that surround the applications that we're studying. But we do engage in experiential learning through skills and practice. Our PhD students will do original research, and all of our students will be mindful of the ethics involved in integrative healthcare practice as well as research in our effort to contribute to the ongoing development of the integrative healthcare system, both in North America and globally. So first of all, a little bit about our master's programs. So our master's programs involve 40 to 43 credits, and our master and PhD programs are online programs. However, there are synchronous learning opportunities that happen within that, and I'll talk about that in a little time. Both the master's and the PhD programs are set up with a similar instructional design and framework. So the courses that you take as a master's student can then convey if you go on for your PhD, which is a separate application process, but many of our students, about a third of them, do matriculate on from their master's work and then continue on to do their PhD. In fact, April, who's with us today, is one such student, and she can answer specific questions about that. Our courses on both sides are divided up into core courses and then continuing on with research courses, courses we deem as mind-body science courses that are more what we would think of as being more bioscience related, such as the psychophysiology of the human stress response or contemporary neuroscience. We have courses that we call practice courses, which have a heavier application experiential component to them. And then both our master's and our PhD programs allow for electives. On the master's side, you finish up your work by doing a capstone course, a capstone project. But on the PhD side, you do original research. And the original research that you do is of your choosing. You get to identify what your question is, what your methodology is, and who will serve on your committee. Many of our students go on to publish that research and then also do postdoc work around that. Obviously, it can take a while to complete that research. So people often ask, well, how long does it take to do this? Our programs are flexible, even within the framework that we've offered. The average time for completion in a master's program is 2 to 2.5 years, whereas on the PhD side, of course, it depends on how long it takes for your dissertation. All of the coursework alone takes 4 to 5 years, with an additional 1 to 3 years to complete the dissertation process. So that's how our courses are structured. So, how do we structure that? Well, we believe that mind, body, and spirit are all integrated. And the very first exposure our students have to that is through our Mind, Body, Spirit Integration Seminar, which occurs in your first semester or your second semester for some if there is a scheduling conflict, because it is a synchronous event. And it mirrors what we think is important in our curriculum, which is that studying mind-body medicine begins with your own self-care. So we like to ensure that our students not only have knowledge about the practices, have knowledge about the research behind the practices, but also can apply those same very practices to their own self-care for themselves. We follow a framework of scholarship and mind-body practice integrated in together. So our courses, in particular those that are deemed practice courses, have a heavy experiential thread through them. So, for example, you might be taking mindfulness, meditation, and health as a course, and you would also be practicing different kinds of meditation along the way. So in your work, you would be not only reading about the research behind meditation and mindfulness practices, but you'd also be reading about the practices themselves and keeping a log and answering questions around them. That experiential thread also allows our students to carve out deep connections. So, next one. Within our coursework, we also have an opportunity for specializations. So our specializations in the master's program and the PhD program include psychophysiology, contemplative end-of-life care. Oops, my slide just went a little wacky there. Integrative wellness coaching, and I will say a word about that. Our integrative wellness coaching curriculum allows our students to then apply for credentialing through one of 2 national organizations that would allow you to become a certified integrative wellness coach. We also have a specialization in integrative and functional nutrition, in mindful leadership, and for PhD students who have a licensable master's degree in a mental health care profession, we have a specialization in integrative mental health. This is actually an example of what our learning environment looks like. For those of you who have done some learning online, you might recognize Canvas. So this is the landing page for one of our courses coming into a Canvas classroom. All of our courses are set up with the same architecture. And what I mean by that is when you come into a course, you will have options of different places to go to. You can access in one touch the syllabus, the course outcomes, announcements for the week, the dates and times of video conferences, messaging the professor, and Canvas help. We also show you the technical requirements. The one about modules is particularly interesting because it follows along a sequence of scaffold learning, moving across from the very beginning in the introduction to the course with assignments due in every module, and the assignments could vary, moving through and building on what has happened in the previous module right until the end. We have very detailed syllabi that document this. And we explain upfront what the requirements are going to be, what the assignments are going to be, and when the video conferences will occur, because they are synchronous learning and they occur in real time. So many students have questions about that. Most courses have anywhere from 3 to 4 video conferences, and they are held primarily in the late afternoon, evening hours, or on the weekends. We announce those at the beginning of every semester for each class so you can plan around it. And we even have a backup plan in the event that you have an unavoidable conflict. So I'll say a little bit more about that later on. So within a course, what do the assignments look like? Well, they could be, you're certainly going to have readings, and we prioritize the research that comes out of the academic library. And you will have access to that at your fingertips as well. Saybrook has an extensive library, and we rely on peer-reviewed journal articles that are published in the last 5 years, so we get the most current research about every particular topic. Within a module, you might have an opportunity for a discussion, or some of you might have heard it referred to as a discussion board, where you post a short essay on the required readings based on a question and communicate with your peers in the class and your instructor around that. In some classes, you will run into quizzes or exams, mostly in the mind-body science courses that are more biologically based. You could analyze case studies. You will write academic papers. Ours is a writing-heavy program, and we use the APA 7 manual for creating style. And we also have opportunities for reflective papers. As I mentioned, all courses have some video conferences, and they could be 3, 4, maybe 5, where there are discussions and students have an opportunity to talk to each other in real time and to also present the work as you are developing it along the way. So those are the synchronous experiences. Applicants often ask, well, how long does this take? It depends on the week and how you manage your time. And how quickly you read and how much APA 7 writing experience you have, and whether or not you fall down what I call a rabbit hole, which is where you go to investigate something that is an aside to the class, and using the recommended reading list, you just inhabit that for a while. You fall into that place and you explore on your own. So it depends on you. We figure 6 to 8 hours, maybe 10 hours per week per course. And most of our students also work, and they take 2 or 3 courses in the spring and in the fall, and usually 1 or 2 courses in the summertime. We do go all year long, and we have breaks in between. We have also assumed a new cadence to the way our courses are structured, so that the first week is essentially a reading week. About midterm, you have another integration week where there are no assignments, and you can use that as you choose to get caught up or to take a break. And then the final comes around week 14, usually in your final assignment. So this is the question about, well, what do our graduates end up doing? These are some actual examples of where our graduates have ended up. Some of them continue on or begin careers in higher education, and these are some examples of places where they've received posts or placements. Others become involved in running organizations or developing programs, both in the public and the private and the governmental sectors. And we have a variety of different examples there. Some of our graduates from the doctoral program go on to continue their research through postdoc fellowships. And some of them even come back and continue to do that work at Saybrook. Many of our graduates who have practice credentials already continue on with that, with the addition of having expertise in mind-body medicine, but there is a growing area in health for healthcare consultants, in particular integrative healthcare coaches and practitioners who are becoming increasingly employed in a variety of different sectors. So the way our schedule usually works is we start early in January, usually the first Monday in January, and we go for 14 weeks. And then we take a short break, which is usually about 2 weeks. Our summer term begins on May 12th. It is shorter. It goes for 12 weeks. And because of that, the courses are a little bit more compressed, which is why I'd mentioned that many people just take one or two courses during the summer. It's going to sound like it's a contradiction, but in some ways it's a more leisurely pace. A lot of the summer courses are practice courses. So we offer a course in Ayurveda during the summer, a course in spirituality and health. And anyway, so that goes for 12 weeks. Our start date would be May the 4th. And then we take off the month of August pretty much. Fall semester begins this year on August 24th, and it goes until November 30th is the last day of instruction. And then we take basically the entire month of December off, or our students do. Our faculty, of course, are busy grading exams and papers and posting grades and getting ready for the next term. But as a student, you are then done and you have a nice large space in there. Another date that's really important is the Mind Body Spirit Integration Seminar. It is a 1-unit course, and our students are encouraged to take it their first semester if they can. Many end up delaying it till the second semester because of scheduling issues, because it is synchronous. This last go around, actually in the spring, we just started it last weekend, and Dr. Worthington's one of the facilitators. Many of our faculty members come together, and the entire cohort of incoming students, plus anyone who had to delay, gets to come together in the large group, and then we split folks into these smaller groups of individually facilitated groups for subsequent 4 Saturdays. So to start out again, a Saturday and Sunday, and it's usually the weekend after the first full week of school. And it goes California time 9 to 4, and then 4 Saturdays after that in the morning. So Dr. Worthington, I think you were going to figure out what the dates probably are for the fall, right?
I was, and I'll put them in the chat. And just one additional point. The MBSI is offered in the fall and the spring. It is not offered in the summer. So the dates for the Mind Body Spirit Integration Seminar in the fall are going to be September 5, 6, 12, 19, and 26, and October 3rd. And it's important to note that the first 2 dates, September 5 and 6, are the Saturday and Sunday of Labor Day. It's also important to note that all of the dates are Saturdays except for September 6th. So the MBSI starts off with two fairly intense days, one after the other on a weekend, and then 4 Saturdays after that.
Great. Thanks, Dr. Worthington. We realize this is a big commitment, a weekend out of your week, and especially if you're working, that's kind of a big deal. And then 4 half days. The reason we think it's so important is threefold. We think it's so valuable to actually walk the talk. So many of you have described practices you have already, expertise you have already. Everyone, as you know, can have a different idea about what is mind body medicine and what does this integration stuff actually involve. This seminar is an opportunity for us to present our framework for how we understand mind body medicine, which will inform your studies for the next years that you're with us. Within that, we offer you practice applications that we hope you will begin to apply in your personal life as well as in your professional work. And then the third reason is it gives you an opportunity, especially in the small groups, to get to know parts of your cohort so well to form support systems that will take you through the rest of your academic journey. That's actually evidence-based because the education research shows that when graduate students in particular engage in online learning, that they have a better rate of completion, a better outcome, and higher levels of satisfaction if they have an opportunity to do an intensive synchronous experience with their cohort at the beginning. And we think that's true. Certainly, the qualitative feedback we get from our students is that this is an important part of their experience. And not to overuse a word, but it can be transformative. It can actually be life changing for some. Valerie, do you want to say anything about the Mind Body Spirit Integration Seminar?
I think you covered it, Dr. Fortune. The only thing that I would underscore is that we really do try to provide experiences that enable the students to have an experiential experience where we're not just learning about practices, we're actually practicing them. And the other thing that we're trying to do is to introduce practices to students who either are already or are someday going to be practitioners, meaning that you may be exposed to practices that don't do it for you, so to speak, but that may be perfect for a client that you have. So we're inviting you to look at the practices that we engage with both of those hats on.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. It's a pretty straightforward online application process. We will need your official transcripts, but initially many submit their unofficial transcripts from their regionally accredited institutions to get the application started. We'd like to see a resume or CV. We ask for an original essay with a personal statement, and there's a structure to that, asking why Saybrook and why mind body medicine. There's a short survey that asks for things like, have you taken an anatomy and physiology class in the last 10 years? And if you want, there's an academic writing sample that you can submit as an option. Normally, all of our students are required to take the academic writing class, but if you go through an assessment project process, there is a way to waive out of it, and they can explain that to you in admissions. It's also in our catalog online. In some cases, you'll have an interview with faculty, or we will follow up with you with an interview orientation session right after you have reached a decision and you're going to be joining us. So I see Kelly's information is right here. You can reach Kelly at ksilver@saybrook.edu, or you could write to admissions@saybrook.edu. And I think I'm now learning, oh, this is about the personal statement, the questions we ask you to submit. And it's not a thesis, it's a 2 or 3 or maybe or so page. And here is information on the writing sample.